I grew up in a interior design company in the third generation. Both my parents were running it. My father was more on the commercial side, doing all the sales, making sure he has contracts in place, and then also the planning for all the employees. And my mother was more on the advisoring side, helping clients to figure out what would look best in their houses. Unexpectedly, my father died when I was 25 years old. Both my brothers are younger, so we realized what it means when such a strong person that runs a company and everyone is dependent on him, not just my family and my mother, but also all the employees. The whole company was just breaking down, and we had almost no sales anymore. People were not asking for more service. They didn't visit us anymore. We realized how important that core person was, which we just didn't know before. So what we then had to do is figure out how do we establish the next generation key people and making sure the company can continue and actually continue to feed my mother, but also my brothers who decided to jump in and help. So this was really an early key lesson in my life on what is this key person risk, what does it actually mean? And I just started to realize this, 20 years later, working as a consultant, having had my own companies, and now also helping other entrepreneurs to run their businesses, that the risk is not just that you lose the company, it's actually all the dependent people on your company, mainly the employees, but also obviously all the people in your family. So what we had to do then is re-establish trust. I think this is the first thing that gets lost. Partners and customers are getting unsecure, so to speak. So they don't know, is this company still delivering the quality? Is this company still functioning? Can I give them money? And are they still there 6 months later to finish the projects? So we had to deliver a concept on how to establish trust again. My mother, my brothers both went to all the partners, to the key customers, did a roadshow actually, and just showed the next generation, the faces that would come and help secure this company and secure the brand, importantly. So they had a chance to establish trust again. What we had done for several months, for me, I was already working as a consultant. So for me, it was almost like a life project, my real first reorganization project. So for several months, every evening we sat together, decided what should the new business model look like, what are good things we can take from the past, what can we learn from some of the older employees. Some of them were already working for my grandfather and then for my father and then now for my brother. So they had a lot of knowledge. So we were trying to get that and creating a system that works for 2 generations now, my mother and my brothers, and not just for one generation. So after several months, we figured out the model, how we would like to do this, how we partner differently, how we are selling differently. One brother was taking the technical lead, planning all the employees that were installing the things, and the other brother was more the sales guy and the commercial guy. My mother was still doing the advice and helping people to choose the right design. So that seemed to work pretty well, and after, let's say, 12 months, we were able to bring that curve back. So we had really 12 months just down. It was really a lot of money that we had to give in. So my mother was actually paying several times 6 figures just to make sure the company can continue because she didn't want to lose it. And after 12 months, it started to go up again and showed the fruits of the work we had to do. Just 2 years later, the company doubled from what it had, the size he had with my father. And both my brothers were able to have a future for their families, and my mother could still stay in the company. So that was a real lesson to see what is a key person risk. And this is really, for me, one of the core things that I believe when I work with entrepreneurs, to make sure their families survive if they can't work anymore, or also making sure they have kind of something to give to their employees. This is also very often when they do like a management buyout. So you have your story continue also if you can't work anymore, if because you're sick or if you pass away. So that's really in the heart of my belief, of making sure a company is built in a way that it survives such very strong situations. I mean, obviously you don't always want to just secure it for such a bad moment. You might just want to sell your company, and because you want to retire, because you don't have someone to give it to, or you just want to go into a next venture, next idea. And you need to actually to follow the same concept. If you are the key person in a company, no one will buy it, because everyone knows if you would go away or decide not to work for that company, it will lose all the value. So someone that would give money has a huge risk, and it actually destroys the valuation of your company, right? And normally what I see is, if we have a key person risk in place, the valuation drops up to 3x. So if you would have like a 4x, you just have a 1x, right? Then of your EBITDA, which is a very bad valuation. So it's the same steps, making sure the concept, the business model works without that key person, and it's therefore easier to sell. And the good thing is, you don't need to sell it. You can actually just keep it in that business model. It's easier for you because you have more people that the business relies on. It's not just on you, but you can also decide anytime to talk to a partner to bring in, take shares, or take your employees up into the management, do a management buyout, give them possibility, or even just totally fully sell it. And so you have all these options that you just don't have if you are the key person, and everyone knows this, because then it's just a company around yourself, and it's not a company that works independent of that person, and it should be a company that runs on the shoulders of several people. That's really how a good also small company can work. I mean, ideally, if you start it, obviously in the beginning you do all the things yourself, but ideally you already build it to in order to be sellable, making sure you give all the things to another person, to your employee or to a partner, or outsource it, all the things that are not core your strength or your added values. I see this often when older companies, like 10 years, 20 years in, people I work with, they are all over, right? They are doing a lot of things. They're helping everyone because they like to do this, obviously, because that's why they have started it. For them, it's hard. It's very hard to move away. I don't see it that hard if you start it, because young entrepreneurs often just obviously work in the first years many hard hours, but then they realize to grow and attract maybe other partners, they could delegate things much better. So I would personally, if I start my business now, I would absolutely build it in order to be sellable. So meaning, decide what your core strengths are, do them yourself, and try to delegate all the other things. And it can be delegating to your employees, to a partner, or outsource. Right? So I think that's core. But so in short, it's hard for entrepreneurs that are 10, 20 plus years in the business. For them, it's always harder. But I think more important because they have a much bigger legacy to give than a younger startup company.